Hey guys, this is Stacy from eatthebite.com, and today I'm making a delicious beef and broccoli. It's pretty straightforward. We'll slice some steak into thin pieces, cut and steam a bunch of broccoli, chop some garlic and ginger, make a quick sauce with beef broth, soy sauce, brown sugar, and cornstarch. We'll chop some scallions, of course, crisp our beef in a pan with garlic, ginger, and scallions, add the sauce, add the cooked broccoli, give it a stir, let it thicken, and you're ready to serve. So, let me show you how to make it. I'm using 1.5 pounds of New York petite sirloin for this because when it's on sale, it's the best deal you'll get on good, flavorful beef. So, I'll cut the beef into thin strips like this, maybe about 1/4 inch in thickness. Then I'm going to transfer the beef to a small sheet pan. Next, I'm going to sift baking soda over the beef, which is called velveting, so we can tenderize the beef before cooking. I use this same method for my chicken and eggplant recipe. So, I'll toss the beef to coat with the baking soda, and then I'm going to put that back in the fridge for about 1 hour. I've got a little more prep to do, so I'm going to cut the broccoli into small and medium-sized florets. The size is actually up to you and your preference. I'll cut that big chunk off the bottom, then I'll cut them into smaller florets like you see here. I also filled a pot with water and my steamer basket, and I ended up with about 5 cups of broccoli total. I'll steam that in the background later during the cooking process. Next up is the ginger and garlic. I'll start by peeling a chunk of ginger. You can use a peeler or a knife for this. I've also got my garlic cloves here, which I usually cut into thin rounds first and then dice it down into smaller bits from there. With the ginger, I'm using my microplane to grate it, but if you don't have one, that's fine. You can use a knife to dice it down fine instead. It should look about like this when you're done, and I set that aside in the same bowl as my garlic. Next, I've got 1 bunch of scallions, and I'm going to chop the whole bunch because I'm a huge scallion lover. If you want to tone that down a bit, just chop half. Then I'll just set those aside. At the 1 hour mark, I rinsed the baking powder off the beef, and now I'm blotting it dry with some paper towels. Once it's blotted dry, just spread the beef out onto the pan and season it with a little bit of salt and some pepper. Now it's time to make the sauce. It's wicked easy. Cornstarch, beef broth, soy sauce, and then we're going to add that brown sugar right in there too. After that, just whisk it together until everything is well combined. And I've had my oil heating in a pan on high heat, so I am ready to start cooking the beef. I'm using 2 pans because you don't want to crowd the pan with the beef or it won't brown and get crispy. So I added a little bit of beef to each pan, and I will fuss with it just a little to make sure the pieces are laying flat and not overlapping each other. Then you just need to let it cook, no touching it, for about 3 to 4 minutes. And you'll be able to see it browning around the edges. Then at that 3 to 4 minute mark, we're going to give it a stir here. I'm also going to add the garlic and ginger in. Give it another stir. And I want to give the other pan a stir too, and you can see how the beef got nice and crispy here. And now we're at the point where we can combine the 2 pans and give everything a good mix together. We'll let it cook another minute here. Then we're going to add a handful of the chopped scallions, maybe about 1/4 cup. We'll give that a stir around. And then after that, we're ready to add that sauce. We're going to give it a stir, and because of that cornstarch, you'll see the sauce start to thicken pretty quickly. And as it cooks for another minute or 2, the sauce will also darken up a bit. And when it looks about like this, we can go ahead and add the broccoli. Mine's been steaming in the background. So we give everything one final mix to coat, and you're ready to serve. I put everything into 1 large serving bowl, and then I did go ahead and garnish it with a little bit of the extra scallion. And if you happen to have a red pepper around, slice up a few strips of that, and you can add a splash of color to your presentation with it. And we're done. This one goes best with rice, of course. Just use your favorite brand. I usually go with basmati. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll leave you with my live commentary of tasting this delicious beef and broccoli.
Oh wait, I want one of everything. Here. I want one of everything. Sound like a little brat right there. It smells amazing. It smells amazing. I'm going in. Oh, that's delicious. The velveting definitely worked. When I did the test recipe, I only let it sit for I was in a rush. I only let it sit on the baking soda absorb for about 20 minutes. And the steak was a little tough if you're using New York Petite, like New York Petite sirloin like I was. So this time I, excuse me, let it sit in the baking soda for about an hour. It was actually longer than an hour because I got sidetracked with something else. But, so a little longer than an hour, but 1 hour will do the trick. Alright, I want more scallions because I love scallions. I love that little pop of onion when I'm eating something. This is a huge bite. I don't know how I'm going to even fit it in my mouth. Oh, but I'm going to try. I tried to keep it as easy as possible with just like ginger, garlic, broccoli, scallion. You know, things you're going to have around like brown sugar, soy sauce, beef broth, that kind of thing. There's a lot of other things you could do with this. You could add some red peppers in there for some color. You could slice up some carrots and throw it in there too. I think when I did my test recipe, I even threw some onions in there, but I was like, I don't recall seeing like onion chunks in beef and broccoli. Although it's been so long since I had that at a Chinese restaurant. But this is a very simple version, which you can do a lot with. You can add red pepper flakes to give it a little spice. You could drizzle some sesame oil on it. I just wanted to do a simple version. So it's easier because, you know, even though it's like basic pantry ingredients, you still have to do some work. You've got the rice ready. You gotta cut the broccoli, steam the broccoli, make sure those things are like happening at the same time or going to be ready in time to put everything together, that kind of thing. So, and when you're cooking this at the end, if you want to add a little water to it because it's too thick, you know, you want to thin it out, that's great. Do that. The thing too is like, I have sesame seeds. I could have toasted them as a garnish, but I just don't feel like it. If you're looking for an easy recipe, sometimes if you see too many ingredients on the list, you don't want to do it. So, you know, I can write in the blog post what all the things you can do to jazz it up. But just this on its own is absolutely delicious, and I'm really looking forward to these leftovers. Yeah, so there you have it. Fairly straightforward, really delicious beef and broccoli.